You sit down at your desk, open a fresh document, and the cursor just blinks. You have the idea, you have the notes, and you even have the drive, but your hand does not move to the keyboard. Instead, you find yourself checking the weather, then the headlines, then reorganizing the apps on your phone screen. It is a quiet, heavy stillness that feels like lead in your chest. You tell yourself that you are just waiting for the right mood, or perhaps a bit more research, but the sun begins to set, and the document is still white, still empty. And in that silence, a small voice starts to whisper that maybe you are just lazy, or that you simply do not care enough about your own dreams. But I want to stop you right there. This is not about laziness. This is not about a lack of ambition or a character flaw. And it is certainly not about being broken. This is not about you being someone who cannot finish what they start. When we look at this pattern, we have to see it for what it actually is. It is not about time management. It is not about a lack of discipline. And it is definitely not about you not being good enough to succeed. On the contrary, what you are experiencing is a very sophisticated protection mechanism of your nervous system. When you face a task that matters to you, your brain does not just see a list of to-do items. It sees a threat. It sees the risk of being judged, the uncertainty of the outcome, and the terrifying possibility that your best effort might not be perfect. To your nervous system, starting that task feels like stepping toward a cliff. And because its primary job is to keep you safe, it triggers an avoidance loop. It reaches for notifications, chores, or mindless scrolling as a form of emotional anesthesia. It is trying to lower the volume of your anxiety, so you can feel okay in this exact moment. Think of it like this. Your brain has two modes when it comes to effort. For some people, action is a way to discharge energy. They feel a spark and they move, and the movement itself feeds them. But for others, the moment of initiation is where the friction is highest. Their system scans the horizon for danger. Who will see this? What if I waste my time? What if I discover I am not as capable as I thought I was? For these people, starting is an immense expenditure of emotional resource. They are not avoiding work, they are avoiding the discomfort that starting triggers. They might spend hours in the messy middle of planning because research feels safe. It protects them from the direct exposure of actually doing the thing. If you find yourself in this second group, it is often because your system has been trained to be hypersensitive to results. If at some point you learn that your value was tied to being correct or being exceptional, then every new beginning feels like an evaluation of your entire identity. Your brain learns to treat a blank page like a mirror of your self-criticism. You begin to notice more than others, to anticipate failure faster than others, and to feel the weight of expectation more heavily. And so the internal alarm goes off before you even pick up the pen. But here is the truth that changes the air in the room. You do not need to wait for the fear to go away before you move. Courage is not a mood that you wait for, it is a practice of the body. Imagine you are walking a trail. You do not wait for the mountain to become flat before you take a step. You notice the steepness, you feel the strain in your breathing, and you simply place one foot down. You can carry the fear with you while you walk. It can be in the room, sitting in the chair next to you, and you can still open the laptop. This does not make you a failure. It makes you a human who is learning to navigate their own internal terrain. This need to delay is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is just a sign that you have a nervous system that wants to protect your pride. And you can tell that system that it is okay to be uncomfortable. You are allowed to be a person who starts imperfectly. You are allowed to be a person who produces a rough, messy, or even a bad first version. That does not make you a bad professional, a bad creator, or a bad person. It makes you a living person who understands that the only way to build confidence is to collect data through action. Confidence is what you get after you have done the thing, not what you need before you can begin. The weight you feel is just the cost of entry for something that matters. Procrastination is a response to the perceived gravity of the task. When the goal is high, the brain interprets the potential for a fall as lethal. This is why you might find it easy to do small, unimportant things while the big project gathers dust. The small things do not carry the risk of defining who you are. But the big thing, the dream, the career move, the creative expression, that feels like your whole soul is on the line. No wonder your mind wants to look away. No wonder it wants to clean the kitchen, or check social media for the 20th time. It is not trying to fail you, it is trying to shield you. But you have grown beyond the need for that kind of shield. You are capable of handling the friction. You are capable of being seen in your unfinished state. We often talk about the finish line, but we rarely talk about the hallway leading to the door. That hallway is filled with shadows and whispers of doubt. Every creator you admire, every professional who seems unshakable, has walked that same hallway. They did not have a special map that you lack. They simply decided that the light beyond the door was more important than the darkness in the corridor. They learned that the tight feeling in the chest is just the body preparing for effort. It is not a warning to turn back, it is the engine starting up. When the engine is cold, it makes noise. It vibrates. It feels unstable. But once you start driving, the rhythm settles. You might be waiting for a day when the stars align and you feel completely ready. But readiness is a myth. There is only the decision to begin despite the lack of readiness. There is only the choice to be brave for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes of honest, messy effort is enough to break the spell of the blinky cursor. 10 minutes is enough to prove to your nervous system that you did not die from starting. And tomorrow, you will do 10 more. Slowly, the lead in your chest will turn into momentum. The fear will not disappear entirely, but it will become smaller in your rear view mirror. It will become a passenger rather than the driver. This process of retraining yourself takes time. It requires you to be patient with the version of you that is still scared. It requires you to stop calling yourself names and start observing your patterns with curiosity instead of judgment. When you see yourself reaching for the phone, ask yourself, what am I trying not to feel right now? Name it. I am feeling uncertain. I am feeling exposed. And then, with that feeling still present, take the smallest possible step. Open the file. Type one word. Make the one call. Do not worry about the second step or the 10th. Just look at the one right in front of you. The world is waiting for what you have to offer, but it does not need it to be perfect. It needs it to be real. It needs you to show up as you are, with all your hesitations and all your brilliance intertwined. You have been circling this dream for months, maybe even years. The circle is a safe place, but nothing grows there. The growth happens on the trail, among the rocks and the steep climbs. It happens in the moments when you decide that your voice, your work, and your vision are worth the temporary discomfort of being a beginner. So, take a breath. Let the air fill your lungs and feel the weight of your body in the chair. You are here. You are safe. And you are ready enough. The document is waiting. The project is waiting. The trail is open. Now, I want you to look at that one thing you have been circling for months. And tell me honestly, are you actually afraid of the work itself, or are you just waiting for a version of yourself that is not afraid to show up before you give yourself permission to start? Share your thoughts with me, because sometimes just naming the fear is the first step toward the trail. What is the one tiny thing you can do in the next 10 minutes just to prove that you can? Choose it, do it, and let that be the beginning of your new story.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.